But you can hear us. We can hear each other on here.
Yeah.
All right. Can you? It's just like, can you get my fire for me?
What? You don't like it?
It's too shit. That's beautiful.
It's just nice and quiet and nice and warm. The clap. There it is, folks.
I want to wave my hair, but it doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah, you just don't have the lettuce to do it.
Fluff.
But so, Bad Lines Podcast, King of the Hammers, Part 2. And so, little recap. We left off the last one where we did the can delivery. So it's like Saturday.
We like basically showed up to Hammers. Like we got there.
Yes, we got all the cans there too.
Yeah. Like we got us, our vehicles, our camp situation, and the cans to King of the Hammers.
Yes. So that Saturday at Tommy's, we stickered them all up with the King of the Canner sticker, Clean Desert.
Yeah,
Sons
so
of
like
Smokey.
basically like Friday, like for my house and whatever, I think I rolled out like 11:30. I think you kind of did the same.
Yeah.
And the goal is like, all right, let's get there. And it's like we're always back and forth, like, hey, like, what do you want to do? Like, and now it's like, yeah, we should just get this done. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if that's feasible, you know.
Yeah.
And Elliot's like, dude, we're going, like, we got to do this. I'm like, you're not wrong, but like, let's get our vehicles and everything there before we plan anything, because like both of us could have broken down on the way there. So
Sure.
some whatever, right?
Yeah.
So then we get there, and then it's kind of like, you good? You good?
Yeah. And this is Wednesday. No. I'm sorry. This
is Friday.
I'm a mess.
Yeah, this is Friday. We show up.
Oh, okay. But so anyway, so we get the barrels distributed. It's pretty uneventful. We go out to, I think the last delivery we did Ultra 3, and then we dropped Wilkie's off. He was kind of across from gate 1. And then we're on our way back to camp, and we see Metal Monkey broken down, did a wheel delete.
Yeah. Sorry, I think we got a little mixed up because I was talking about like us making a Kansas Tommy.
Oh god.
We did talk about all that, but it was a lot of grinding and like cutting and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. So then we get to Hammertown, we get everything where it needs to be, and we're done with our day. And it's like, again, this is Saturday now, right?
Yeah, it's like Saturday, like probably around like 1.
It's Hammers. If you haven't been, it's such a cluster. Like, it's this mind fuck, honestly, because like you really don't have cell phone. You're always just trying to play catch up the whole time you're there. Not just on cell phone, just with like everything in life.
Yeah.
Like you
Everything just kind of blends together too.
Yeah. You're like, and we're all doing this now.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I work, you know, when I go out there, I have a job to do for my regular life and not the King of the Canner stuff. And so like I'll come back from camp, like come back from Hammertown at like 4 or 5 o'clock at the end of the day. And these guys are like, dude, we're leaving. And I'm like, yeah, we're going.
All right. Yeah.
Like, anyway, so this is kind of what happens with these guys show up on Saturday. I had to do some stuff through tech and everything. And then it's late in the afternoon. It's like 3-ish or 4-ish.
Yeah.
Like it's slowing down in Hammertown. So we take off. And yeah, then we
You saw Metal Monkey, and I saw you pull
Yeah.
off, and then I was like, oh shit, that's Metal Monkey. And he's missing a rear wheel.
Yeah, he's a 3-wheeler.
And basically, I don't really know why or how, but just kind of jumped in there,
Yep.
got the jack off the mouse.
He was missing tools. Like, he didn't have the right jack. He had a jack, but it was too tall to get under properly, and it wasn't jacking up right. Like,
That's right.
he didn't have a shovel, because if he had a shovel, he could have dug his jack.
We
down
didn't either.
easier.
We ended up using one of his wrenches.
Yeah, we figured it out. But it's like, we rolled up, like, I think they had just grabbed a tire that passed them. You know, he
Yeah.
had, like, ran off to go get his tire, and he's just coming back. And all of a sudden, there's, like, 6 of us, like, swarmed in, like
Full pit
little
crew.
wasps or bees or something doing. Like,
Yeah.
like, what are we doing? Like, and, I mean, I felt like it was probably 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Dude had
It
his
was
wheel
quick.
back on, like good to go, and he's pissed because he's losing this like Swepco gear oil. It's like $50 a quart or whatever. I don't know the number. It's not cheap. Is my
Yeah.
They have like $100 in gear oil just pouring out of the car, and like they're bummed. And, like,
Ungood.
they just got there. Actually, they had just got back from the dunes. They were just jumping it, like big.
God, yeah.
And yeah, he basically wallowed out his wheel real bad, and the lug nuts got loose somehow. Whatever the answer is, he I think he thinks he didn't tighten them properly. It's kind of an afterthought, but like, whoops.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, we got him going again, and I think we just kind of headed back. I can't remember if we went to the hill that night. We probably did. Went
that was
to
the night we went
Chocolate
to the
Thunder,
hill, for sure.
hung out. I don't really remember anything being too eventful.
We brought the howl.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's that, but
That was like I
I'm
think
saying,
the first night we were. Using,
I'm
like,
sure-
away from camp.
I'm sure some dudes rolled, or there's some shenanigans. There always
Yeah.
is, but
It wasn't like the crazy excitement. It wasn't one of the top 10 reels you're going to see for the rest of the year on Instagram. Or
Yeah.
anything.
but then so that Sunday, when we got back from the hill, Scott and I had talked about, because we were going to leave our trailers there,
Mhm.
and Scott and I were joking about him flat towing the mouse back in the Power Wagon. And then as like the day went on a little more, I was like, why don't we do that? Because we're both going, the same direction. And so,
It's like Saturday evening.
yeah. And so when we got back from Chocolate Thunder on Saturday night, we hooked the mouse up to his Power Wagon. And that morning at like 6,
I was going to say, you guys are going early.
yeah, we dipped early. And so we got out of there, and we drove all the way to like the 405 interchange, like off of Roxford. And I get out.
Your dad dropped you off.
Yeah, dude, I get out and we unhook the mouse and basically unhook the safety chains, the wiring, and we left the tow bar on his truck. And like, I'm going to say within like 5 minutes, we were back on the highway, and I was driving under my own power.
Because he was going to come pick you up again. That's
Well,
what he
yeah.
meant to.
So that was the thing. So we had talked because we were going to come back out Wednesday because we wanted to be out in time for the Taco Dune thing with Baja Designs.
This is like super common at King of the Hammers is guys take their stuff out there and then they come back after, they come home, either family or work stuff, whatever they got to do. And then you come back out for like, because Monday and Tuesday are dead days. There's
Yeah.
really nothing going on.
Exactly. Well, and then the whole thing, like with how busy it is, especially with like the fear of the lake bed being all muddy, I was like, dude, there's going to be no way I'm going to get in there, which in hindsight, like it would have been fine. There was tons of room. Like, I don't know if there was less people this year or
It felt like it. I think the rain really had an impact,
Yeah.
honestly, because it's the media. Like, even though it's social media, it is literally media.
yeah.
And like, what are you going to post? Like, hey, the dirt's perfect, or hey, look at everyone's stuck.
Yeah.
Like,
No, for sure. But so anyway, so we were, Scott and I worked out to meet up again, but this time I had the Forerunner because I was bringing the Forerunner out for the
which
second
is
weekend.
also ready to flat toe.
Yeah, so it's right. They're both ready to flat tow, and he already had my tow bar, and so like I drove out we met off the same exit, and I already had the tow lights on it, ready. Everything was ready to go. So I met him at the gas station off Roxford, and I got there a little ahead of him, and so I like backed into the spot, and this dude's like checking me out, and I'm like underneath the truck, like undoing the drive shaft and like getting it all ready to flat tow. And so, on the mouse, I just set it and forget it. Just put it
Why
in.
do you have to do that on the?
So I should pull the drive shaft. Metro's listening to this, and he's like, "Dude, it's 4 bolts." I should pull it on
Why?
both, but in the mouse, I just put it in neutral, and
Why would
it's
you
fine.
pull it on the mouse?
Just
heats up.
No, but just so if it pops into gear. I know. You read the internet though, and people are like, "Oh no, my '73 CJ." I blew up a tranny, whatever. Anyway, but I feel like the Forerunner, with how much money is in the drivetrain, is worth pulling 4 bolts.
But there's no pumping. It's a manual.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's no
Yeah.
pump to.
No.
I mean, I guess if you had like I would have. Anyway, all I'm thinking right now is out loud is like you have your backpack. You slam the brakes and it throws it into gear, and that's what like.
Yeah,
Some
it would have to be a
BS.
total freak accident, but like in the mouse. I'm not really worried about it. The 4Runner, it's got some money in the drivetrain, so I'm just going to do it. And then the 4Runner, I also have to disconnect the battery because of the steering column, so it doesn't lock. But anyway, so we get out there just in time for the taco run.
Yeah. So Wednesday we have this big thing planned with Ball Designs. Again, they're on our forum. We want to thank them. We also want to do stuff. We wanted to do this on our own, but it's like, why not invite our friends and people that, have, a reason to go drive at night, a light company.
Yeah.
So so Elliot and them, they kind of like get out there, but we're back and forth. Elliot and I are like, I called him like the day before. I'm like, hey, look, I'm going to town right now. Do you want me to grab the food?
Yeah.
Or do you want to grab the food? Because I can grab the food, but it's like, is your fridge empty? My fridge is full. And I have another fridge for this stuff. But like, how do we want to do? Or do you just want to grab it on your way out? Because when you get here, then it won't be frozen. And
and
it's
then
RV fridges. You know how. If you know this stuff, like my fridge, I can put on setting 2, everything's frozen inside. I don't know how it works. It's cold as tits. But anyways, the point being is Elliot's like, no, I've got this. So now on their way out, they're also getting food.
We stopped 30 pounds of meat, no big deal.
And I'm just kind of I felt like I had more of a pressure of hey, this is something we really should be doing. And this is going to be fun. This is going to be a cool thing. And then I'm like, oh, hey, can you get everything?
Yeah, that's fine. we got it.
But then you get everything, and it's then you guys show up, and it's guys, we got this taco run. It's it's happening.
Yeah.
It's just and everyone, we're at camp, and everyone's setting their vehicles up still. I'm I told everyone we're meeting up at 4:30 sharp.
And it was
I'm
4.
going to go.
And I'm like, shit, do we have the spatulas? We need to get tins. And then people are like, what time? I'm like, just stop talking to me. I need to make sure I get all this shit. And so we pulled it off.
Yeah, we pulled it off. We ended up meeting on time. I went there first. I didn't get everything. But thank you for honestly managing all the actual cooking aspect of it.
That's how we do it, bro.
Because I was just the face of the name of the company at that point.
Yeah. Just a face.
I brought the howl.
Just a face for radio, bud. Just absolute talking head. But yeah, so
it was rad.
We went out and then we.
Well, so let's talk about that. We go and meet up where we meet up basically at the 40, and all of a sudden all the vehicles start showing up.
There's a lot of trucks there.
The Big Bear rental guy, he was kind of parked. He didn't really know who we were, but he was invited through the Ball Design guys. And I was like, dude, are you coming with us? He's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, I want to sit in the back of this thing. Yeah. He's got this tour bus that he cruises around Big Bear.
It was like a F450?
Yeah, with 8 or 10 benches in the back.
Yeah.
It was cool. Anyway, so
they and then the long cruiser.
Yeah, we got the limo. And we just had this weird array of vehicles all lined up to go to this run. And I don't know why, but in my head, I'm like, the dunes are half a mile away. Yeah. They're not.
They're not. But yeah, and then so the way that it worked out was I think Wes, Baja Designs West was in front, and then I pulled out first, and I'm in the shitbox 4Runner, and I'm
fighting traffic too.
And I'm I don't want to lead this. I'm literally the slowest vehicle, and then I have the barrels on the back, and then I was like, Scott, you get up here, and then it was just somebody just needs to go, and then we drop into that wash where the bridge is, and I'm like, dude, the Land Cruiser can't make it through this. The limo, I'm like, that guy's gonna get stuck.
Yeah,
he fucking made it.
Yeah,
there's dude. This is absolute savage.
So long.
Yeah,
so long.
I think it's 30 feet long. He said.
It's long.
Anyways,
but we so that was the thing. So you guys took off first, and again, we had to fight traffic because we were parked on the other side of the main road, and there's just people coming in and out of Hamilton all day long. So we're fighting. Again, we have 30 plus cars at this time, and more people showed up later. So overall, there was 40 to 50 cars that end up being there.
Yeah.
But in our group, trying to leave across this road, we had 40 cars, and one was a limo.
Yeah, and it was cool. A bunch of people. I didn't even know All American Sender was going to be there. Yeah. Nick Loose and Lost was there. Yeah. That was cool. Didn't know he was showing up. And anyway, so we had the taco thing. It was rad. The plan was to go to Chocolate Thunder after, and so we
basically made what we normally would do. We made a loop out of it, so it's not hey, let's go here, come back, and meet up again. Hey, the groups got here out in the dunes, and then after we're done having our little shenanigans, we're gonna run over to Chocolate Thunder and kind of watch the night show.
So and we were out there. Another dude that was pretty cool to meet was the Sir William dude. He was out there in his Apple, his 4Runner that he lives out of. Dude's a character.
He's a character.
But so we all make it out. There's probably like, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 trucks maybe that went to Chocolate Thunder.
Yeah, by the time we ended, like, so basically, like, by the time we ended, like, the little taco night we had, you know, half the people dipped back to camp. Some people were racing the next day and stuff like that. Like, and so then the rest of us kind of pressed on to Chocolate Thunder.
Yeah, so we go watch at the hill for a bit. Like,
dude, I dipped out of
you bailed
like,
because you had to work, and then
I was like, I don't want to be here.
I was hanging out with a couple like the Weston guys, and basically I was like, all right, it's time to call it a night. Or I think all of us came back. And then right as we're about to, like, I'm literally getting in the truck and I still had my radio on, and I hear Caleb call over the radio, and he's like, hey, are you guys still at Chocolate Thunder? And I was like, yeah. And I was, you know, basically like, you know.
I don't want to answer.
I was like, yeah, we're just getting in our trucks to go back. And I just hear this like, oh, really? And I just knew. And he had just gotten there. Like, he went to on the taco run, but, you know, that was his first day. And I was like, fuck. All right, dude. Yeah, I'll he's like, I'm almost to Chocolate Thunder. I was like, all right, I'll have a soda with you and hang out. And so come to find out, he's like, dude, thanks for hanging out. And then he said something like, I heard him say something birthday. And it turns out it was his fucking birthday. And he didn't tell anyone. You know, once you're like old, you don't really relinquish that information. No.
You have no idea.
Is it today?
No, it's like Sunday.
Oh, happy birthday, bud.
See, we don't talk about it. Like,
but anyway, so,
I only brought that up because I assumed you had no idea, and I have no anticipation on doing anything. Like,
no, exactly. But so anyway, so we hang out for like, I don't know, maybe an hour or so, and it's like late, and I'm like, dude, I'm fucking clapped.
And that dude stays out.
Yeah. That was first night,
Caleb,
though.
You need to work on that book.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm like, all right, dude, I'm ready to go back. And we had parked at the very bottom of the hill because we had the Land Cruiser with us, the long cruiser.
Yeah.
So we're walking back to the trucks, and it's like smack dab in the middle of Chocolate Thunder, like parking area, like kind of close to the porta potties. And to my left, I hear like kind of like some people like yell. And out of the corner of my eye, I just catch a 40 doing like 40 miles an hour through the parking lot.
They basically yelled 4, like you're golfing.
Yeah, so this fucking tire is going mock Jesus through the parking lot.
God, that is so scary.
And I'm like, you know.
When you say parking lot, you mean a very steep hill. Like,
yeah, and this
like
is
San Francisco street hill.
This is a big ass tire cruising, and I'm like, oh fuck, like that's gonna kill somebody if it hit. I mean, a 40-inch tire weighs what, 200 pounds?
Yeah.
And so, anyways, I'm like yelling.
It's
I'm like
probably 106. Throwing it out there. It's a lot. It's a lot of pounds.
I'm like yelling. I'm like, hey, you know, there's a tire. Look out! Like, you know, I don't. Who knows if anybody could hear me?
You're just trying to be a good person.
But so all of a sudden, like basically, I could see a grouping of cars, and there was like a brand new Tundra. It ends up hitting a old International Scout. There was like this nice blue
Which
Scout.
would be the worst thing to hit is an old car.
Right? It hits it square in the fucking tube off-road bumper. And so we didn't know this. Like, we walked down, Caleb and I, and we're just like, holy shit, that was gnarly. And so we walk up, and I'm like, you know, not knowing what it hit, we're like trying to kind of assess the situation. And some dude's like, oh yeah, it hit that like right in the bumper. It looks like it's okay. And so all of a sudden this dude runs up, and he's wearing a poncho, and he has a fucking wig on, like a long, like it almost looks like a Rastafarian setup. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like,
all I can imagine is this dude's probably extremely serious at this point. I assume he has something to do with the tire, and he's being serious, and you're staring at this guy in a punch.
Well, I'm like, so I'm just like, what? I'm just kind of like trying to assess the whole situation, and he like yells at first, like, has anybody seen a tire? And somebody's like, yeah, it's over here. And so he runs up, and so anyways, we're like talking to him. We're like, dude, thank God, like that didn't hit anybody. He's like, no shit. He's like, man, now if only I could find, you know, I don't have a jack, or, you know, find somebody that has an impact. And I was like, well, I got both of those, dude. So I drive over in the shitbox 4Runner, and we pull the jack out, and pull the impact out. And
This is the Badlands jack that you have, or
no, this is my little Harbor Freight like trailer scissor jack. And so
you have a different one, or you swapped them?
The Badlands, like
Your scissor jack, is that one from the mouse?
yes.
Okay, so you put it in. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm asking.
So, but anyway, so we tried the jack, and the jack didn't work on Metal Monkey's truck either. I think it's just given up the ghost.
It's done.
So, anyways,
I don't think that jack was meant to be used with.
dude, that jack's been awesome.
But I don't think it was meant to be used with an impact gun.
No. Anyways, so come to find out, this dude, the vehicle that lost the wheel was like this badass rock bouncer.
Yeah.
And the dude just, lost a wheel. So, but when I get to the truck with my, my truck and my tools, it's the dude no longer has a poncho on and a wig. Like it's a different guy. And so come to find out, the dude's name is Everything is Broken Inc. That's his Instagram.
Okay.
Dude's like a flat fender Willys Jeep guy. It's absolute savage. Pretty funny. But anyways, we get him. We try the jack. It doesn't work. We end up using
real quick. So did he lose the wheel off the axle, or did he lose it as a spare? Like how did the wheel?
No, the wheel off of the rear, I think.
So he was like driving,
Yes.
and the wheel takes off.
Yes, he was coming down like Chocolate Thunder hot and like gave it a woof and it fucking just took off. And so anyways, the jack that I had is now a paperweight, and he's like, "Oh, well, do you have a tow strap?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Why don't we just use the winch?" So we use the winch and we pick the like opposite side of the top of the cage, and we kind of start to like roll the vehicle over so it lifts up the rear. Long story short, we get the tire back on, and I'm like watching him drive away, and the wheels just I'm like, bro, we gotta go. Like I'm so tired at this
like,
point.
I'm not doing this a second time.
Exactly. So we end up finding the dude later on Instagram, like sometime this week. Cool dude.
Everyone survives at KOH.
Yeah.
Just so you know, like the vehicles, they get home.
Yeah. But so that was kind of an adventure. So we went back to sleep, and then I think like the next morning we do we do the cans, go around, like basically we're like
we're like back into our regular scheduled program.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, we got some things to do. I go to work. Like,
well,
these guys
and
do
it was
the cans
cool because
stuff.
you kind of had like eyes obviously around Hammertown
Yeah,
where
so I have a one wheel, which it's so
it's like a moped,
freaking useful.
telling people about it,
dude. But look at me when I'm like, hey, you guys stay at the car. I'm gonna go collect the cans.
Yeah.
Like the thing is so helpful. Anyways, my point being is I'm running around. My job at the time is to run around and talk to drivers and everything, and just kind of literally just kind of like mobile coordinate everything. And so having the one wheel, like because I'm running around talking to vendors, I'm running around to my dealers and everything like that. Like I can just do a quick visual, like literally just drive by and be like, it's not full, like
Yeah.
not even close to be full. Like then I can report back and be like, you guys were good with Hammertown. Like, did you guys check those cans? Are you good there? Like without like it being like this huge impact on like
sure.
Daily the daily things, because this is like. Do not forget, this is vacation for this guy. Like, I'm out there actually working. So,
Well-
I have a thing to do, and this dude's on vacation. We're trying to do the best thing we can, but we got to have fun.
Yeah, the whole thing is obviously fun. And it was like we had, 9 cans in Hammertown?
It was something like that, yeah.
And then, we had a couple one at Backdoor, one at Chocolate Thunder, and then at various other camps. So
And
we
our
had
goal
kind of
is to collect the cans.
Yeah.
It's not just to throw them away in the trash can.
exactly. So we're collecting the cans, and we were going over there with Lutz's Defender and Scott's Power Wagon, and then we'd go collect all the cans, and then we'd put them in there, and then bring them back to camp and put them in the truck bed trailer.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we were doing. But so anyways, we collect the cans, then we end up we meet up with Chris, Cool Runner, and Metro, and basically we're all like, hey, we should go wheeling. So we go over to check out Blueberry, which is like I thought it was like a mellowish trail, and keep in mind, like, so I'm in the 4Runner now, and I've got it's basically a completely unknown, new axles to me. Never run them. I've just put the dual cases in, like. Yeah, it was over summer, but I haven't wheeled it like anything serious. And like Hammers this is like
Dude,
It's pretty serious.
I didn't even think about this. It's the same thing. Like, obviously, I didn't do the work, and I had Mikey do it all.
Mhm.
But I had all new axles under the front of my truck.
Yeah.
Like front and rear. Like in the Bronco, like I was like every day. I was like, just please work. Like you are my daily driver.
Yeah. But so we leave camp, and Chris in the Cool Runner just takes up off this gnarly ass trail that's like, there's the burned in trail that's like, it's still pretty steep and gnarly.
Yeah, but
he goes
he's
like to this line to the left, and he's just, he's on like, I think it's on 38s, but he's on 1 tons, hydro assist. The guy's just, he's a savage.
And if you've seen the way this thing looks, like he's the guy asking for door hinges. You have a door hinge?
Yeah.
The guy broke it. Like, how do you break it?
Yeah, but so we show up at Blueberry, and should we cut it?
Where are we at right now?
35.
We're at 30?
35?
Yeah. All right.
25.
1 second. Sorry for the delays, anybody.
All right.
Continue watching. We're not professionals.
So, what do we got? Where were we?
We were talking about...
Oh, when we went to Blueberry. So Chris shoots up the trail. You're working. And we're going to Blueberry, and he, like said, shoots up this. I'm like, I don't really know if I'm ready for that, to be honest with you. So I go up the kind of bitch out a little bit.
The pictures you show me of where Chris is at, it doesn't look okay.
No. That's so we're like right by camp at this point, but we get over to Blueberry, and there's like a line of trucks that are going up Blueberry, and Chris kind of is like, I don't know if I want to just throw Elliot into the fire. So he kind of goes up to this little zone that is right next to Blueberry, but it's like basically a little rock cropping that you can kind of just play around on.
Okay.
And so I kind of
cropping, is that a...
I don't know.
A
rock, a little rock mound. I don't know.
Garden?
I mean, everything's a rock garden.
I'm asking, I'm not a rock crawler, obviously. Chris, when the first time I went rock crawling with him, I was standing next to him at Turkey Claw, and everything's just grinding. I'm like, I don't think this is good.
Yeah.
And he's just like, shut up.
Yeah, he's like, it's fine.
Shut up.
It's fine. But so anyway, I'm kind of like dicking around a little bit. Like they kind of go back, they get out of their trucks and they like are overlooking Blueberry. And I'm just kind of messing around with the dual cases, just kind of scoping it out. Like I really haven't done any. The only trail I've done was like up in Idaho over 4th of July with my father-in-law's Jeep club. Yeah. It was like a fucking fire road. Like, anyways. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then so he's like pretty cool, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, why don't you try to drive up this section? And I'm like, okay. So sure enough, I'm like climbing up some like 4-foot ledge and kind of get up, and I basically make it like halfway up and get to a point where I'm not going any further. And he's telling me, he's like, all right, you need to go driver. And I'm like, dude, it won't go driver. Like this, like just isn't happening.
Stock steering.
And so he's like, oh yeah, I forgot you don't have hydro assist. And I'm like, yeah. So him and his buddies are just kind of like, they don't want to watch me just wreck my truck right out of the gate. So I ended up backing down, and it was still pretty spicy where I was at. Sure. But so Chris is like, well, let me see what I can do with hydro assist. Fuck. An hour and a half later, trying to double winch pull him out of this spot that
he landed on his leaf spring or something.
Oh, completely question marked his leaf spring, broke a brake line. We ended up having to, once we got him like winched off of where he was at, we had to pinch off the brake line. He drives back to camp with no brakes. It was a whole fiasco.
Honestly, I will not this guy knows how to wheel. Yeah. I don't want to discredit that at all.
Oh, absolutely.
Like when we were there, I remember him staring at me and like the 5 other people around us, like, what are you guys telling me? Like, who is right? Like, because that's what it's like. Yeah. Like you going up. So Turkey Claw. Let's just segregate to that right now.
Yeah.
So Elliot's like, so you've obviously done a little bit of rock crawling at this point of the day. Yeah. And then later that night, it's like Metro's getting bumped up. Elliot's like, yeah, I built a rock crawler. Rock crawl? Like I did not build a rock crawl.
That wasn't even it. So we're hanging out around the howl and we're like making dinner, and we have Hayden, the dude from Calgary,
Such a legend.
he rolls up. He hits. We had Starlink, so somehow he had service, but he hits me up. He's like, "Hey, where are you at?" And I sent him the pin to camp. Like this was like 2 hours prior, and then all of a sudden, like we just see this Canadian chap cruising through.
You don't
camp.
see a Canadian chap. What you see is a vehicle that looks like
No, you didn't even see the vehicle. He rolls up and he's got his like coveralls on, the Carhartts, and he's wearing a sweatshirt. It's like 35 degrees.
I saw his car first.
Okay.
It was Swiss cheese.
Just complete raisin.
It's just like, golly.
But so, did you say golly?
Golly.
Golly.
Golly. No, that thing is like, he's like, I'll show you the way. You're like,
Yeah. No. So we're talking with this guy. Like, it was just one of those things where, like, obviously I'm kind of a chatty Cathy. Like I talk to a bunch of people on Instagram, and I talked to this dude, and like he just seemed like a cool guy. And then you meet him in person, and it's like totally as advertised,
He's
just
the
like
best.
salt of the earth, cool dude.
I wrote it. I did. He was great.
But so we have this whole thing, and everyone's kind of like, "Oh, should we go to the hill?" And then somebody's like, "Hey, we should go run Turkey Claw," and I was like, "Fucking, let's go!"
Yeah, you kind of get that little like, oh, it's my time.
Yeah.
Like,
So we fire up the shit box. I have Scott riding with me, and everyone like leaves camp, and I'm like, "Oh shit, I forgot to put oil in." So I go into the back, and that thing's just puking oil out the exhaust pipe. Like it's not good. But so, anyways,
is that what all that smoke is?
Yeah, it's fine.
Let's most of our viewership is probably pre-runners.
Mhm.
So let's what Elliot's going through at this point of the day is like we're all in Barstow and everyone's like, yeah, we're gonna go do the jump. And you're like, dude, I've been thinking about this for a month.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to do the jump with all the other guys. Like, I just got my truck done. I'm going to jump it. You don't know how your truck's going to jump. You don't know if you're going to be the dude who's endoing it. You don't know anything.
Well, and so it's like
for the average guy. So Elliot's going like, okay, I've got the lockers. I've got this. I've got the transmission. I've got the doubles. Like, you're in your head, you're like, yeah, I can do it.
Yeah. Well, and I was thinking like I'm just gonna keep it low key, like just chill, cruise the easy lines is what I'm thinking.
You give yourself a pep talk.
And yeah, I mean, you're just like I'm just gonna be smart. Like you don't want to be the Instagram star. Like you don't want to be one of those guys that's like upside down and getting driven over.
But you got Scott in the passenger seat going, I'd really take it extra soft today.
But I mean, so Turkey Claw, like, learned this from like the years past. That compared to a backdoor, compared to a Chocolate Thunder, it's like the trail itself is obviously like the easiest trail at the Hammers.
But there's still traffic.
There's still traffic, but it's like it's way more low key.
Yeah. The people that are there are actually about rock crawling and not seeing the shit show.
Correct. And like Chocolate Thunder, I mean, just to give you an idea, if you haven't been there, like what would you say? There's like 1,000, 2,000 people watching
any given night,
and then Turkey Claw is like maybe 100.
Yeah, it's drastically different. No one's getting beer bottles thrown at them.
So
there's no fights.
But so, anyways, we drop into Turkey Claw, and it like once you're in, you're like you're in a canyon, you're committed.
Yeah.
Like you could turn around, but
if you had a ridiculous rock bouncer, you could go anywhere you wanted.
Yeah.
But like the average Forerunner, the average car out there is pretty average.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the average car out there is pretty average.
No. Okay. So yeah. That's good.
What do you mean? Why do you elaborate on that?
So I'm just saying,
like my Forerunner.
Your Forerunner's leaf sprung and like simple shocks. Like there was a Dodge out there, like not a Dodge like 2,500, Dodge 1,500 on some stuff, like leaf sprung still. Like it was a very mild build,
mm-hmm.
but you're in the weeds.
Yeah.
Like there's other stuff done to it, but they're not all like, rear steer rock crawlers with hydro assist. Like
sure.
That's typically backdoor is like the crazy, and then Chocolate Thunder is like the tons and 40s, and then I would say Turkey Claw is 37s and stuff.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
But so anyway, so we like I remember like a bunch of Jeeps that were like just kind of trail plugging, and then there was like one dude in an XJ that was kind of blocking the easy line. Our boy from Canada he's in front of us.
I was in his truck. I
You're
was riding with it.
I thought
Dude.
Caleb was with him.
No, well, I don't know what part. I drove up with him most of the part. That section that you ended up making it up, like I drove with him on that. Dude, the truck felt like flat the whole time. It was weird.
Really?
It was so weird.
Huh. But so anyway, like the easy line is to the right, and I mean it's still pretty spicy, even the easy line. Like I mean, you watch like the Ultra 4 race, like there's a total traffic jam on this trail that we're like we were running that exact trail at night
with unlimited cars.
Yes. So anyways, we end up like we're kind of stopped up, and the Hayden's like, "Bro, you totally got this this line to the left," and I'm like,
The dude in the raisin.
"I don't." Yeah, exactly. He's at this California raisin right now, and I'm just like, "I don't know, bro." And he's like, "No, like just double low first and just let it creep." And I was like, "Yeah," and just kind of like grip the wheel. I'm like, that sounds pretty chill.
I was gonna say, like, when the way I understand where you're coming from, because the dude is like soft spoken. He doesn't get all excited like I do. I'm all yeah. And then what you're gonna do is like you're just gonna freaking mash the gas pedal, and that's what's gonna get you over this. He's just like, no, it's totally chill. You're just gonna go over here, and he's like getting quiet. Like,
You're just double low, it'll be fine. So I'm like, yeah, all right. We'll just keep it cool. So I end up in the line, I made it up like half of it, and it was fine. And then I get just kind of like rock in a hard place. Just
literally running your bumper directly into a rock the size of this wall right here.
Yeah, it wasn't great. But then I had like all you fucks, like 8 peanut gallery yelling at me.
I learned my lesson from Chris, the cool runner. Like, shut the fuck up. You have no idea what you're saying. Dude, I literally said nothing. I just had my camera out, like, you guys do.
But so we ended up making it up. It was rad. Super stoked. Thank you for everybody.
No. Don't discredit it. I know you were the one doing it. It was badass. Like, because it's that like all the boys were there. Everyone's rooting, and you had ears and mouths yelling at you from all around the car. Like, no, don't do this. Yeah, do this.
No, and I'm fucking passenger side down, so I'm on the high side. Yeah. And everyone's like, all right, you need to go more driver. I'm like, dude, if I go more driver, I'm fucking rolling this thing.
This is rolling.
And like,
they're like, no, there's a rock. You're like, where?
I'm like, I want to keep my windows. Like, I don't care if it gets dented, but I'm trying to keep it like somewhat nice adjacent, you know?
It's the first crunch. It's that all those things, because it's not like the car was perfect, but it wasn't a raisin.
Yeah.
Like any big dent, you're going to be like, I could have not done that.
Yeah.
But you had the right spotters. You had the right guys. Everyone was telling you things, but you were nervous. So therefore you weren't, I don't think you were 100% listening. You were being 50% of what they said.
Yeah, but it's tough to.
Oh,
I was nervous for sure. I mean, I wasn't worried. Like,
I thought you were.
I'm not going to get hurt.
Going over. That's why.
I mean, I did. At one point, I had both passenger or driver side wheels off the ground, and I was resting on the front bumper. I mean, that's not a roll because I was still like up, but it was, I mean, pretty close. Anyways, it's like you're in a car and you feel it tipping, and it's like these fuckers outside, like they just want to see this fucking thing flop.
This isn't their shit.
But so, anyways, we made it through.
And again, we don't make it through. He ends up going through. He freaking catches the rock just right. He makes the line. It was perfect. Honestly, if you would have just done that right away, it wouldn't have been as nearly as climactic as it was. Like, it was epic. And you climb, like the way it climbed over the rock. It's almost like an impossible look. You're like, there's no way your car can go up that. And then when it does it, and it's like grinding on the rock sliders, and everything's working like as it should.
Yeah.
And then you rev the 22RE.
Oh, and it's just puking smoke like a vape. It's like coming out like a cotton candy vape.
I'm just saying, dude, I was so proud. Like, I was proud because I knew that was something like you had been searching for a long time.
Totally.
Like, as far as like, I want a vehicle that can do this.
Yeah.
And like you probably could have done it with less in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like you built it to do that, and like because you, and it just worked. It worked properly, and you didn't have any issues, and like it was rad. I was super stoked for you.
Thanks, bud. But yeah, it was cool. But so after we struggled through it, had the cheering session. There's like a bailout to the left
I went to bed.
that you guys left. But so
I was like, we made it up. All right, I'm going back to my car. I'm going straight back.
But so you could go like kind of ditch out to the left, and then the trail. We didn't end up making it all the way to the end. And here's why.
I remember.
Hayden, the Canadian boy, him and Caleb are like just, they told me, they're like, dude, we're just stoked like watching me and the Forerunner go through everything, because after that, like the trail's still decently gnarly.
Yeah, you're not off, like you're not just on a bypass now. Like.
Yeah, I mean it's honestly it's the gnarliest trail I've done, and again, it is the easiest or one of the easiest trails at the Hammer. So like
it's still not for the faint of heart.
No, like I've done a handful of like hard trails, but nothing on this level. Anyways, I'm just cruising through. The truck's basically driving itself, like it idles through all those rocks with double low. Mm-hmm. And anyways, Hayden said, he's like, dude, honestly, like I was so stoked watching you, I stopped kind of watching my line, and he got hung up on a rock. And of course, just gave her the sauce, or the beans as he calls it. We call it giving her the onion. Just grenades the fucking rear diff. And this is like probably midnight.
Oh, he lives in Canada.
Oh yeah, 25-hour drive to get there. And so we end up pulling the rear drive shaft, and we're trying to assess whether it's better to go out, keep going the rest of the trail.
Because you're now like kind of towing him, right?
Well, he was going to be front wheel drive only, locked front wheel drive. But so we were trying to assess whether it was better to go out, keep going on the trail, or go back to that exit, like after the hard part of the trail. Mm-hmm. And so, anyways, we send Metro up like one of the exits. He ends up getting out of radio contact, and he gets stuck. But we don't know this until later. The other dude, Kevin, that had that Suzuki Sidekick that was with us at camp, the white one. Yeah. He ends up turning around, and so does Hayden. Hayden drives out down this gnarly ass trail in front wheel drive, and he made it all the way down to the bottom.
It was very capable.
Yes.
Very. Like it was surprising. Like you see those things when you're running around Hammertown, you're like, that is a shit box. Yeah. You're like. It was so seamless and it was quiet. Like it wasn't rattly and shitty.
It just looks like it on the outside.
It just looks so beat to shit. But like the nuts and bolts were good. Yeah. Like it was cool.
Yeah. But so anyways, he ends up making it all the way out in front wheel drive. And we then finally get in contact with Metro. And he ended up kind of doing an end around and meeting up with us. He's like, dude, we got stuck back there. It's like a total clusterfuck. Anyways, go back to camp. Hayden and Caleb end up going for a ride. It's like 2 a.m. I know. They're out like
Caleb.
They went back out to Chocolate Thunder or something. Yep. Anyway, so that was a whole story in itself. And then what else? What else happened? And then next morning, wake up again, do the cans. Yeah. Another round of all the cans, and now we're at like Friday.
Yeah, and then Saturday's kind of like the big show, which is our cleanup day. Yeah, like I guess it's just wild being there. Like it just so much happens in such a short period of time. Yeah, and it's literally go. Like I think I said already. Like I just get off work and I meet up with the guys, and like. They don't care that I've been working all day. They're not waiting for me. No. Like I'm lucky to find them at camp. Yeah. And so I show up and they're like, yeah, we're leaving. I'm like, it'd be cool to not, but all right, let's go.
Well, I think when you met up with us on Friday after work, we had just gotten back from saving that dude in the Jeep.
Yeah, and you guys are all amped up.
So the dude, we're like that same hill that I was talking about on our way over to Blueberry. That
real quick, let's preface this. It's like there's a hill right next to our camp. You can literally see it. Anyone climbing this thing directly from our camp. And the only thing I know is there's a picture. The dude's lost a lot of shit off his car. He lost a C-clip, and therefore he ejected an axle, right?
Yeah,
So
axle and wheel, and this hill's like,
it's steep.
I'm gonna say it's like maybe a quarter mile long, maybe not that long, maybe an eighth mile long. I mean, it's pretty, it's a decent climb, but he's like halfway up, it stopped, and we were like, see that he's kind of off the trail, and we're like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And we, we're just watching from camp, drinking a beer, like hanging out. We're just kind of like, should we go get involved? Nah. Like, then we gotta deal with it. So we see these guys like rolling up a tire up the hill. We're like, oh, he must have just got a flat. And we're like, why would you change? You don't like just drive it down to the bottom. Like, don't try to change your tire.
Yeah, on the steep incline.
And then so I'm like, no, I don't want to get involved. And then like 3 minutes go by and I'm like, fuck it, let's go. So we all, I get in the 4Runner and everyone else is on the tailgate of the 4Runner and I just drive them over there.
It's literally like you could just walk. But
yeah.
You might as well take the truck just in case.
So we get as we get close, we realize that he lost a C-clip and deleted an axle, and he was like almost like 3/4 of the way up this hill, lost the axle, and slid back down with no brakes, and luckily got caught on one of these rocks, and they were trying to figure out what to do, and so it ended up being we another pinched brake line with a vice grip, so he got back brakes. And
we have some things we're really good at.
I don't know why that we've like talked about that on the first podcast we did.
I think a lot of people don't think about losing brakes.
No, but it's like this trip in itself. We used that twice, and then we did it. The wire.
Cleanup. Yeah.
Like I don't know why it keeps. It's because we talked about it.
I've done it when I lost a wheel.
Yeah, it's just weird that this. But like recently, it's been happening. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so we make him a. We tried to get the wheel back on, but then it was just so sketchy with jacking the car up.
I'm sure every time you use the jack, everything moves.
Yeah, well, and what we did too is we got a vehicle from the top. We actually had a couple. We had Metro's dad's green Jeep, and we like basically tethered the dude.
He has a nice big winch on it, right?
Yeah, he has a big winch, and then we had Willis up at the top in that big. I don't know if it's a F100.
I think it's an old Ranger. I don't know technically.
Big Ford, like a '70s Ford.
Yeah.
And we were going to use that if the Jeep needed like more of an anchor, but I mean it was just a little small Wrangler that he was kind of holding, and so we made a ski for him under his the tire that was missing out of like a 2x6.
Yes.
And like Scott like went full sailor knot and like, but dude,
he's good.
It held on.
He's good.
So we used like a ratchet strap and somehow made that happen. And then, long story short, like got this dude down the hill. Like we ended up like he could drive himself. So we thought, but like he just kept getting hung up on that wheel that wasn't there. And so we ended up having Lutz with the Defender pickup. He was winching him down and Metro was like letting the winch cable out just so he was kind of like tethered.
Yeah, so he's getting pulled and let go at the same time.
So, and I mean, it was like when we rolled up there, you could just see like the fear that these guys had. And it was like shit, what are we going to do? Because it really was sketchy. Like the dude could have rolled down the hill and, flipped the car easily.
Yeah.
But
every like small move is a big impact, or potential impact.
Yeah, and so it was just cool. Like the dude literally was like, the guy gave me a hug when we got down. Like I never met this guy in my life, but like he was just like, "Thank you, dude."
Wasn't it wild? Like this, this incident for this guy was probably maybe an hour long.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Total, like from him losing his wheel to being rescued.
Yeah,
it took an hour. Like. You're like, it's so insignificant as far as part of your time anywhere.
No.
But like at that time, like that was his world. Like, and it probably felt like 5 hours. Like,
yeah, it was crazy. And then like
losing. Can you imagine going uphill and just losing?
That's like worst case scenario.
And brakes. Literally and brakes.
Fucking worst case scenario right there. And this hill is pretty steep.
Yeah.
Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like, it's kind of in the fun spot to camp because you watch guys struggle getting up this and like UTVs.
I mean, so I like earlier in the day before this happened, we were like after we did the whole run where Chris got stuck and we were like winching him out. we did like the harder line, and like I can tell you from experience, like I'm halfway up this hill trying to get up, and I'm just like, this fucking sucks. And Metro's like, oh, I can see it in your eyes, you're a little scared. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, this sucks. But anyways,
I'm gonna say it's been next to our camp. Everything I've always had is forward, but I have no interest going up it. Zero.
and that's the easy way that guy was on.
No interest.
Yeah, it's not that bad. But anyways, so
it's just because that exact thing's rolling down a hill, like continuing to roll.
Anyway. We got the dude down. His buddies went and got the trailer, and then at that point we were able just to put the axle. They did it all at that point. That we put the axle and the wheel back in, and it rolled onto the trailer. And like I said, the dude gave us some hugs, and it was just like we gave him a sticker. We're like, there you go, bud. It's just cool. Like, we didn't have to help the dude, but it's just like, why not?
Yeah, you're there. I mean, it's King of the Hammers. It's always a rad experience. I personally, and we have some friends that don't camp with us in Hammertown. Like, it's one of those things for me. Like, I enjoy it because it's King of the Hammers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could go on a regular weekend and camp somewhere else and do my own thing, but I prefer having that experience. It's not that chaotic. And maybe it's just because I sleep well. Like, I understand some people don't sleep well.
Sure.
There's fireworks going off at 2 a.m. It's not that bad. Trust me. It does happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a, kind of like a, I was trying to think of an old thing, like a popcorn fart in a whirlwind. Like, that's what someone used to say. Like, it's not that bad being there. It's just, and it is only like, for me, it was 10 days, but most people it's a couple nights. Like, it's not, it's fun. It's exciting because it's stuff like you have these wild experiences that are epic.
Sure.
And you met people, like I met this dude with his Bronco. He just saw my Bronco, waved at me. His stuff was broken down, and we ended up getting him back on the road. Yeah. And he was like out on rips with us all week.
That's Bronco Pat.
Bronco Pat.
And his brother Cruiser Steve.
No, it was the opposite. It's Bronco Pat and Cruiser Steve, I think.
Yeah. That's what I said.
And but like again, I drove by, met these guys. They ended up hanging out with us all week. Yeah. They're the best. I freaking love those guys.
That bond is how you meet people, and it's
exactly. And it's by being in the mix. Like if you're out camping on your own, and I get it. Trust me. Like if I'm out camping and it's an off weekend, I don't want anyone camping near me. I don't want to talk to you.
No.
I don't want to know you.
No.
King of the Hammers. It's a festival. Let's go meet some like-minded people. I love it.
What I think is super crazy is like I take like the dude that two guys, the guy that rock mounter that lost the wheel. Like, okay, obviously we're at King of the Hammers. That dude is not even in, like, I don't have a Willys. I didn't even know he had a Willys, but I don't have a rock mounter. So it's like we basically, other than us having 4 wheels on our trucks, we don't really have much in common as far as like we're not in the same arena. But so through social media, it's like that video gets posted and like the reach, it's like that guy, somehow sees that post or his buddy sees that post, tags him, and then it's like all of a sudden that guy, let's say I didn't help that guy. We didn't stop. We never make that connection. And then same thing goes for what I was gonna say, the other guy that we helped, the Bronco Pat guy. Same thing. Like you just put yourself out there, and it's like you meet these really cool people, and it's like it just kind of goes back to like creating the community thing.
Yeah, and now you have a direct, like, because again they found our page, we found theirs. Like now it's like getting someone's phone number. Like it's like a bunch of dudes going like. Can I get your number?
No, I remember what I was gonna say. So the dude, after we're fixing the red Jeep, they're getting it back on the trailer. This dude in a purple Jeep rolls up, and I posted the video on. I'm a big purple guy. If you guys didn't know that,
it's awkward.
But so I see this dude's Jeep, and I'm like, that thing's fucking cool. And I was thinking, like,
because of the color.
Yeah, because of the color. I mean, it's a cool Jeep, whatever. I'm not a Jeep guy. But anyway, so I go up to him, and I'm like, hey, man, like, that's a cool that's a cool Jeep. Like, I'm a big purple guy, blah, blah, blah. And then I ask him, I'm like, hey, is it cool if I
Is
take
that
it?
a weird thing to say as a dude? I'm a big purple guy.
I don't, it is what it is. But so the dude, like, I explained to him what happened, the Jeep, and he's just like, wow, that sounds pretty terrible. And then he's like, hey, I like your hat. And I had the Bad Lines hat on. And anyway, so I post the video. Same thing. Somebody sees that it's this dude that's like,
Share it.
yeah. And anyways, the dude's now on the forum. It's like,
Good. It's cool because we're all like-minded people. We're all doing the same thing. It's like, and as weird as it sounds, like it's a great place to meet more people that are like you. And like adults have a hard time making friends, especially if you're an adult guy.
not
Like,
me, apparently.
not-
If somebody's got
If
purple,
you got purple,
let's be
like,
friends, bud.
Watch out.
All right, we got to stop this for
All
a
right.
second.
Anyways, quick interruption break.
But so, anyways, meeting the random people off of like just helping people out is pretty rad.
Yeah.
And it's like those, obviously you want to make sure that you don't want to put yourself, like, putting yourself out there, like, you don't want to like overdo it, but at the same time, like, you'd want somebody else to help you in a situation. So
100%.
it's like, and then that's like how you make, hey, maybe you just help somebody out and you never hear from them again, but you never know, you might be meeting somebody that's like super solid.
And let's just, I'll bring this back to the King of the Hammers conversation, King of the Canners conversation. It's like I had quite a few people ask me like, well, what are you doing? Like, why? Like the question of why comes up a lot. It's like, because it makes me sleep better at night. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I just like it. Like,
Yeah.
same thing with seeing a dude have an issue with his truck, and then we go out of our way to help somebody. And again, I would hope that would happen to me. My luck, it's probably it won't. But like, the point is like, I will go out of my way to help somebody else out, knowing that their day is better makes my day better.
100%.
Like, it's not hard because like it's when you're a kid, it's better to give than receive.
Mhm.
Like, it really is. Like, I just sleep better at night. Like, having,
Yeah.
and it's fun. Like, dude, meeting that guy Chris, and like they were trying to feed us the whole time, and we're hanging out. Like, and it was like the best part was I come over. It was Chris, right, or Pat?
Pat.
Pat.
Pat and Steve.
Excuse me, I'm so bad with
Come on.
names. Anyways, we go over to them. Like, I see them, and I go back to the camp, and I go, I think I have a wire brush, and like, I know I have a grinder, but I think I brought my wire brush. And then I tell Scott, and then Elliot comes back, and like, I was gonna go do this on my own, and these guys come back, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go help this guy. He's like, yeah, this is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Like, it
well,
wasn't
then
like-
and then his brother Steve it was a Toyota dude, so we're just over there dorking out, and you guys are like, Broncos, Anyways, but so
I'm just trying to use my new lights to shine everything up. I'm like,
you're like,
my
you need
whip-
light. You're like, keep driving your truck around. I'm like, dude, I got a flashlight.
You're like, but you have to hold the flashlight. My Bronco holds itself.
God.
It's just, it's fun. It's as dumb as it is. You kind of got to get past it. It's just dumb fun.
Yeah, but I mean, like, okay, the can thing, like, why? It's like, okay, well, if we don't, then there's going to be problems.
Yeah.
If we don't keep cleaning the desert up,
Yeah.
somebody else will do it. Well, no one else is going to fucking do it.
Yeah.
So let's go. Let's do it.
And we're, and I really, really do think that we're doing a good job of making it fun. Because it is. Like, we're actually, like, I swear, we're actually having fun doing this. And, like, that's why we're talking about it here. Like, we're enjoying everything we've done. Like, and then there's a whole aspect that we haven't even brought up yet. It was like, we had it, like, I feel really, really bad. But they sorted all the cans in the trash and everything. And I guess it wasn't that bad sorting everything.
I mean,
It wasn't great.
there was a couple soggy, like, half-eaten burritos that I had to pick up. We all wear gloves.
Yeah.
I would say the most random piece of trash was a full coffee pot that was in one of the bags. Like, who the fuck throws a whole like coffee pot was in one of the cans? I'm like, come on.
We've
folks.
learned some things for the following year. And, I do want to say sorry publicly because we got back and, like, they're ready to start crushing the cans. And, like, I rolled in just after work. It was, like, probably 4:20 or whatever. And then they're rolling over, and in my head, I'm like, I'm all amped up because I'm like stoked to see all this, and like this is gonna be fun. We got to make this like visually cool. I'm like, I'm gonna do a burnout. I do a burnout. And later, thinking about it, I'm like, these guys just sorted all these fucking cans.
Yeah.
And then I go
rip the tarp. God, what a guy.
Make a mess and just like, and these guys are spent and tired. They're on a couple days at King of the Hammers, and I'm just like, I'm amped because I'm excited.
But yeah, well, so the sorting though, so it was like. It wasn't a ton of trash. I mean, it was a good amount, but it was like, you know, some pizza boxes, some like, you know, wrappers, some food stuff, and then but we had to also sort out like there was glass bottles, there was plastic, so we kind of came up with a system of like doing a pre-sort, and then we dumped the bags, and then you know people were like looking for plastic, and we had it was Tucker. Hodges helped us. We had Brian Mecho. We had Hose B. We had who else? No, I'm Lutz helped. Cody helped. Scott's dad helped. Scott helped, and I was there. And I'm trying to think if anybody else that helped, and I'm totally blanking. I'm sorry.
And just to be mindful, like, so this is Saturday. So this is the main race. The main race is still going on. Just for my own reference, I thought, because the day before, I don't really ever follow the race that closely unless I'm at home, like watching it. But I'm thinking like, okay, well, yesterday's race got done around 1, so like I should be done around 1 because the finishers are coming in. And we're really only focused on getting hats on like the finishers' heads and blah blah blah. And then I'm like throughout the day, it's like noon, and I'm telling Elliot, like, yeah, I should be done around like 1:30, like when the race is over. And I forgot they're running a third lap, and I'm like, oh shit, the racers aren't coming until like 5. Like I can't be here all day. I ended up rolling up. Like again, I didn't think we had won. The Can-Am came in first and stuff like that. So I run back over to camp, and that's when they're all done sorted and everything's ripping, and it was cool to see. It was well organized. You guys did a great job. Yeah, like everyone involved.
It was everybody else. Like I mean, it's like we couldn't have done what we did without the people that were like boots on the ground helping. And like, as you know, yeah, Steve and I or Wally and I organized like the cans, but it's like all the companies, all of our people, our friends. That was they get the credit.
We're just a couple idea guys.
Just a couple of dudes.
Yeah, we're just a couple idea guys, and we're like, I think we can do this, and we're like, we kind of need more help.
Yeah, but so we got the cans all sorted out, and then we had this brilliant idea to drive over them with the trucks, and
without apparently somebody in it.
Yeah, we put it in double low. I put it in double low and just let it idle over with a 4Runner with the trailer. That was kind of funny. But yeah, so we drove over it a bunch, and then once we got them all crushed, we got them in bags, and we ended up with like 8. I think it was 8 bags of crushed cans, and these are like 55-gallon drum bags, so they're big ass trash bags. Mm-hmm. And then we had 2 bags of plastic, and then the glass we just pitched because it's just,
how do you deal with
nothing. It wasn't really that many bottles. I'd say it was probably like under, I don't know, 30, 40 bottles, but it's just, and so we took all the trash back to Hammertown. We loaded all the barrels up in the truck bed trailer, and then Tucker ended up towing those back to Tommy TT Motorsports' house.
What's the guy's name that grabbed all the cans for us?
Alex.
Yeah.
Alex, buddy of GTS Customs. He was camped right next to us, and one of his buddies was like, hey, dude, I got an empty long bed. So he ended up taking all the cans back home to Moore Park, which was freaking huge.
Again, people just came in out of the woodworks. Like, basically, like, leading up to the event, like Elliot and I were like, we're going to figure out Saturday and Sunday on Saturday and Sunday. Like we got to get to Saturday and Sunday first before we even consider how to deal with the cans. And like, because that one was like, well, how are you going to get all your stuff?
I remember.
Elliot's got like, he's like, I've got my RV, I've got my 4Runner, I've got this. And I'm like, I've got a truck bed trailer. I've got my camp set up. Like, it was my daughter's birthday on Sunday.
Yeah.
So we're just like in this like mode of like, we're gonna deal with Saturday when Saturday comes.
Well, yeah, and I remember Hose B when we were at Tommy's like the first day getting the barrels. He's like, "What are you gonna do with the cans?" I'm like, "I don't know, bud. Haven't really thought that far through."
We're
But
not there yet.
at the end of the day, like seriously, hats off to everybody that helped
Everybody.
us, because that is what made this happen. And it's like it's just cool to see like our idea that we had get put into motion, and then things just worked out. And
Yeah.
it's like, obviously, if we're able to do this again, there's a ton of things, not a ton, but
There's
a
enough.
handful of things that we would change or, kind of add to. And, hopefully we can get more companies behind it and more people behind it. And thank you, obviously, King of the Hammers, for letting us do this.
Yeah, it's huge.
For
us, it's huge because we go camping all the time, and it's so annoying to see the trash.
Sure.
Like it's simple. It's a simple fix. You just don't litter.
Yeah.
And
Well, one thing too that I think is pretty cool, and it's like I don't know, like kind of sitting there and like looking at the amount of cans that we collected. Honestly, I was like kind of shocked it wasn't more. I thought it was just I expected more.
yeah,
And then like going out to Chocolate Thunder, at night and seeing cans still on the ground, I was just like, I don't know. Kind of had this like, I'm not really sure of like how big of an impact we're making with this. And then like fast forward to this week when Desert Cleanse Project, Colin was out there cleaning up, and like this dude last year was like, he lives out in Joshua Tree, like Yucca Valley area, and his deal is like he's all about cleaning up the desert. And
Yeah.
and
anytime he has off, he's out there cleaning up. Basically.
yeah, and so basically this dude is a tell it like it is kind of guy, and it's like he's posting on his Instagram, on his stories, he's like, I can't believe how clean it is. And I don't know, I don't attribute that to us and our
No.
efforts.
The Tread Lightly crew, everybody involved. Like,
But it's like, even if we had a small part of like that positivity and that change, like hell yeah. And thank you everybody that threw away the cans and just helped spread the word, and just like people being generally stoked about it was
yeah,
enough fuel for us to do this. And it's like, we had some people like, oh, you're going to cash those in and make money. Like, full disclosure, I took them to the recycling center with my son in the rain. And for just the
rain.
barrels.
By the reference, in the rain.
Just the barrel. It's been raining here heavily. But just the barrels alone, our cost was like, we got the barrels donated, the can crushers and the metal and the
Welding gas,
abrasives.
welding wire.
We figured we were into it like $1,000, and that's with the barrels being donated.
And they're not cheap, by the way.
We
That
made
was a big help.
$440 on cans. Okay, so we're in the hole.
Yeah, we're not talking about the multiple trips out there, the driving all week to get all this stuff. Friends that think Oceana Dunes, Clean Desert, anyone that's helped in any facet at all on the back end. Like, we do really appreciate all the help and effort. We would have done it like as is. Like, it's fine.
And Sons of Smoky with the
like,
flags, that was cool. The King of the
it's
Canners
huge, dude.
flags.
Everyone that had an impact. Again, we can't do it on our own. Like, we can't continue to spend $1,000 out of our own pocket. Like, not that we're not like searching for money or anything. It's just cool that people we asked for nothing, and people came to us to help. And again, just showing up and just spending your time at Hammers, like Lutz, all week he was down to help.
Yeah.
Like, he was out there for 10 days too, or whatever, 9 days, and he was out there willing to help every aspect of it, taking his time of day, like dirtying like, we used his truck bed so many times, and those bags are so dirty and gross, like like a chew spit, like anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like the worst of the worst in those things. And like, all our people were just there helping, and both Ellie and I do not, like, we're not good at asking for help.
Yeah.
And it was cool that we didn't actually even have to ask. Like, it was just kind of there for us. So
Yeah, but
I
anyways,
don't know.
well, cool. Well, that wraps up pretty much King of the Hammers, King of the Canners.
King of the Canners. We have more stories to tell, but this is the recap.
So, any questions? I don't know. That's it. Goodbye.
Good.